welcome back to my channel. Today, we're going to make some plastic jars into organizational heroes. Do you have jars from everything that you eat? I sure do. Finally, I'll show you how to easily decorate these jars so they look great in any room. If you want to get rid of clutter in other areas of your home, check out the Reuse Roundup playlist in the description box below. Also, stick around to the end because I have a super cute way to jazz up these jars for storage. Or if you don't have a special drawer for spices, put them in a cabinet where you can see them. No more plastic cotton ball containers for this girl. Not only does this look better, it's easier to see what's inside and it's less wasteful. Plus, the lids are easy to open. Just unscrew the lid and scoop out the cotton balls. Then screw the lid back on and you're good to go. Since I don't have a special spice area, I used a Lazy Susan to fit more jars into this cabinet. This prevents the lids from scratching each other. Or you can simply put a layer of tissue paper between each jar. Use these jars for anything small, from thumbtacks to pipe cleaners to flashlights and batteries. I kept 2 of them to use for glitter. These giant jars are perfect for larger craft supplies like pom-poms, yarn, and ribbon. Next, I line the bottom with contact paper. This protects the wood from moisture and makes cleaning it out easier. For thicker shelves, use a thin piece of plywood or pegboard. This gives you an area to attach hooks and store items that you use daily. I attached a hook to the side of the drawer for a scissor holder. Well, you can use the same technique to make scented jars. Simply fill a jar with water, then add essential oils or potpourri. The scent will infuse into the water and make your whole room smell amazing. This is also a great way to use up leftover candle wax. Just scrape off the outside of the wax, chop it into small pieces and put it in the jar. Then add a little hot water. Stir until the wax melts and the fragrance fills your room. The rest of the items will be stored in these plastic jars. You can use chalk markers, but to make them last longer, put a piece of clear sticky tape over the writing. You can also tie a piece of twine or ribbon around the neck of the jar. This is a great way to hide blemishes and imperfections. And lastly, sticker paper is a fun way to add a personal touch to your jars. Print out whatever design you like or make your own. Then cut them apart. Peel them off and stick them onto the jars. Let's turn this messy drawer into an organizational masterpiece. The kitchen is much more organized thanks to these plastic storage jars. And if you have kids, this is a great activity to do with them. You can also make some plastic bottles into pencil holders. Check out the link in the description box below for that video. Thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful day. And remember, reuse more, recycle more, and waste less. My daughter loves to use these small jars to organize her jewelry. First, pick up some nice-looking jars to hold office essentials. Then add a little personality to them by wrapping a strip of washi tape around the top. You can also use painter's tape or masking tape. This takes minutes and makes the jars look super cute. Fill the jars with whatever you like to keep on your desk. Then display them on a shelf, your desk, or anywhere else that needs some organization. She puts rings, bracelets, and earrings inside and displays them on a shelf in her bedroom. Even the smallest jar can hold a surprising amount of art supplies. And if you're feeling artistic, draw or paint directly on the jar. Another option is to screw the bottom of the jar into the top of the other jar. This is a great way to save space when working with limited depth shelves. Just make sure to lift them straight up and down. Using jars of different heights creates visual interest and maximizes space. I also added some basic office supplies to the mix, such as paper clips, rubber bands, and pens. And finally, I added some bins to the drawer to catch all the loose items. If you do it like this, the jars might pop out of their lids, but this definitely leads to more waste. Another bathroom essential that fits well in these small jars is hair ties. They're easy to put in and take out of the jar. And since they're see-through, you can easily find the color you want. If you'd like to cover up the labels, use a Sharpie to draw fun designs on the front of the jar. By stacking the jars, I was able to double the amount of storage. My go-to Lazy Susan is this one. Let's get crafty in the crafting room. These small jars are ideal for sorting buttons, beads, and other craft supplies. But I forgot to mention another trick I used to get those stubborn labels off. After soaking the jar in warm water, I used a hairdryer on the label. The heat softens the adhesive underneath and makes the label peel right off. They're the perfect size for a craft table, shelf, or drawer. If you're feeling extra crafty, remove the labels and paint the outsides of the lids. Allow them to dry completely before screwing them back on the jars. It's really affordable and I've had it for years. I did, however, switch out the top shelf for this bamboo one. And instead of throwing them out, let's reuse them to tackle all that clutter in our homes. Once they're empty, I wash and dry them. These little glass bottles with airtight lids are perfect for storing and organizing dried herbs and spices. The lids also make it easier to pour the spices into a dish when cooking. Here's a tip: before putting the lid on, roll the jar on a flat surface to shake out any excess powder inside. Now, rather than just labeling them, why not arrange them by color? All the greens together, the reds and oranges together, and so on. You can also sort them by category, such as baking spices, savory spices, and sweet spices. If you need to fill the jars, purchase some inexpensive spices at the grocery store and transfer them into the jars. To level off the spices, use a funnel. This way you can see the spices better and the jars look neat. Then I remove the labels using warm water and baking soda. This method works with most labels and it doesn't damage the plastic. However, if there is any residue left over, use vegetable oil to wipe off the jar. We'll begin with the kitchen, then head into the bathroom, the craft corner, office spaces, and more. Alright, let's begin. Our first stop is the kitchen. I have 2 big jars of peanut butter that I use every week. Now that they're clean and clear, let's sort through the spices in my spice rack. After you've finished filling all of your spice jars, line them up in your new custom spice drawer. The next stop on our tour is the bathroom. In here I'm giving cotton ball storage an upgrade with these repurposed jars. I've never been good at opening those plastic containers, so sometimes I would actually cut into the container to try to get the cotton balls out. For larger bathrooms, use bigger jars to hold Q-tips and hair accessories. Speaking of painting the tops of lids, I did this in the bathroom too. If you need to stack jars, wrap a piece of cardboard, felt, or foam between the lids and the jars. If you're out of craft supplies, no worries. While I was organizing the art supplies, I came across these old school paste jars. To do this, I removed all the items from the drawer, then wiped it out with a damp cloth. As you can see, I didn't throw away those large plastic containers that I showed you earlier. A friend recently asked me how to keep her desk organized, and I gave her a few tips. You could also use these jars to hold art supplies like paintbrushes, pencils, and markers. In another video, I showed you how to make candles from old yogurt containers. If you're looking for a simple DIY project, try decorating these jars. Here's a quick tour of everything we made today.